Leviathan is a book written by the English philosopher Thomas Hobbes, published in 1651. It is a seminal work in political philosophy and social contract theory. Chapter 13, Chapter 14, and Chapter 15 of Leviathan are significant sections in the book. I'll provide a brief overview of each chapter. Chapter 13 of the natural condition of mankind is concerning their felicity and misery. In this chapter, Hobbes explores the concept of the state of nature, which is a hypothetical condition of human beings before the establishment of civil society and government. Hobbes famously describes this state of nature as a condition of constant conflict and competition, where life is nasty, brutish, and short. He argues that in the absence of a common authority, a government, human beings are driven by their natural instincts and desires, leading to a war of all against all. Hobbes concludes that to escape this state of nature and ensure peace and security, individuals must enter into a social contract, surrendering some of their natural rights to a sovereign authority in exchange for protection and order. Chapter 14 of the first and second natural laws, and of contracts. In Chapter 14, Hobbes discusses the natural laws that govern human behavior in the state of nature. He identifies two fundamental natural laws. The first law, which dictates the pursuit of peace and self-preservation, and the second law, which prescribes that individuals should be willing to give up certain rights if others are willing to do the same in the interest of peace. Hobbes introduces the concept of a contract, which is the foundation of civil society. Contracts are agreements made among individuals to create a sovereign authority that will enforce the laws and maintain peace. Hobbes also argues that contracts must be kept, as breaking them would lead to the breakdown of civil society and a return to the state of nature. Chapter 15 of other laws of nature. In Chapter 15, Hobbes discusses additional laws of nature that arise from the principles he established in the previous chapters. He outlines several specific laws, including the duty to seek peace, the obligation to keep covenants contracts, the requirement to pardon past offenses when the offender seeks peace, and more. Hobbes emphasizes that these laws of nature are not merely moral guidelines but are rooted in self-interest and the desire for self-preservation. He argues that these laws provide the basis for a peaceful and orderly society when individuals agree to live under a common authority. These chapters in Leviathan lay the foundation for Hobbes's political philosophy and his theory of the social contract. Hobbes's ideas on the state of nature, the necessity of government, and the role of natural laws have had a profound influence on subsequent political thought and remain significant in discussions of political philosophy and social contract theory. Here's a summary of chapters 13, 14, and 15 of Thomas Hobbes's Leviathan. Chapter 13 of the natural condition of mankind is concerning their felicity and misery. In this chapter, Hobbes discusses the state of nature, a hypothetical scenario before the establishment of civil society. He describes this state of nature as a condition of perpetual conflict and competition, where life is characterized by violence and insecurity. Hobbes argues that, in this state, individuals are motivated by their natural desires and self-preservation, leading to a war of all against all. He concludes that to escape this chaotic state, individuals must enter into a social contract and create a sovereign authority to maintain peace and security. Chapter 14 of the first and second natural laws, and of contracts. In this chapter, Hobbes introduces the concept of natural laws governing human behavior. He identifies two fundamental natural laws: the first law, which promotes self-preservation and the pursuit of peace, and the second law, which encourages individuals to be willing to give up certain rights in exchange for the same from others to achieve peace. Hobbes explains that contracts are the foundation of civil society. These agreements among individuals create a sovereign authority responsible for enforcing laws and maintaining order. He emphasizes that contracts must be upheld, as breaking them could lead to the collapse of civil society and a return to the state of nature. Chapter 15 of other laws of nature. In this chapter, Hobbes expands on the concept of laws of nature. He outlines various specific laws, including the duty to seek peace, the obligation to keep covenants contracts, the requirement to forgive past offenses when the offender seeks peace, and others. Hobbes argues that these laws of nature, while rooted in self-interest, serve as the basis for a peaceful and orderly society when individuals agree to live under a common sovereign authority. He stresses that these laws are not mere moral guidelines but are driven by the desire for self-preservation. These chapters collectively form the foundation of Hobbes's political philosophy. He asserts that the state of nature is characterized by conflict and insecurity, making it necessary for individuals to form a social contract and establish a sovereign authority to maintain peace and order. Hobbes's ideas have had a significant influence on political thought and continue to be studied and debated in the field of political philosophy. Chapter 13 of the natural condition of mankind is concerning their felicity and misery. In this chapter, Hobbes explores the hypothetical state of nature, which is the condition of humanity before the establishment of civil society and government. Hobbes paints a grim picture of the state of nature, describing it as a place of perpetual conflict and insecurity, where life is solitary, poor, nasty, brutish, and short. He argues that in this state, people are in a constant war of all against all. He contends that in the absence of a common authority to enforce order, individuals act out of their natural desires and self-interest, which leads to violence and chaos. Hobbes concludes that the state of nature necessitates the creation of a social contract, where individuals agree to give up some of their natural rights in exchange for security and the establishment of a sovereign authority. Chapter 14 of the first and second natural laws, and of contracts. In Chapter 14, Hobbes delves into the concept of natural laws that govern human behavior in the state of nature. He identifies two fundamental natural laws: the first law, which dictates that individuals should seek peace and self-preservation, and the second law, which requires individuals to be willing to relinquish some of their rights if others are willing to do the same to achieve peace. Hobbes introduces the idea of contracts, which are the basis for civil society. Contracts involve agreements among individuals to create a sovereign authority responsible for enforcing laws and maintaining order. Hobbes emphasizes the importance of keeping contracts, as breaking them could lead to the dissolution of civil society and a return to the state of nature. Chapter 15 of other laws of nature. In this chapter, Hobbes discusses additional laws of nature that stem from the principles established in the preceding chapters. He outlines several specific laws, including the duty to seek peace, the obligation to keep covenants contracts, the requirement to pardon past offenses when the offender seeks peace, and more. Hobbes argues that these laws of nature are rooted in self-interest and the desire for self-preservation. They provide the foundation for a peaceful and orderly society when individuals consent to live under a common sovereign authority. He maintains that these laws are not just moral guidelines but are essential for maintaining social order. These chapters collectively form the core of Hobbes's social contract theory. He contends that the state of nature is a harsh and chaotic place, where individuals are driven by their self-interest and desires, leading to violence and insecurity. To escape this condition, Hobbes argues that people must enter into a social contract, giving up some of their natural rights to establish a sovereign authority capable of maintaining peace and order. Hobbes's ideas in these chapters have had a profound impact on political philosophy and the development of modern political thought. Let's further examine the key themes and concepts in chapters 13, 14, and 15 of Thomas Hobbes's Leviathan. 1. State of nature. Hobbes introduces the concept of the state of nature, a hypothetical condition of humanity before the establishment of civil society and government. In this state, Hobbes paints a bleak picture of life characterized by constant conflict, insecurity, and a war of all against all. This concept serves as the foundation for Hobbes's political philosophy, as he argues that the state of nature necessitates the creation of civil society and a sovereign authority to escape its perils. 2. Natural laws. In Chapter 14, Hobbes discusses natural laws that govern human behavior. He identifies the first law, which encourages individuals to seek peace and self-preservation, and the second law, which dictates that people should be willing to enter into contracts and give up certain rights to achieve peace. These natural laws are rooted in self-interest and serve as the basis for Hobbes's argument for the social contract. 3. Social contract. The concept of the social contract is central to Hobbes's political philosophy. Argues that individuals, recognizing the inherent dangers of the state of nature, agree to form a social contract. This contract involves surrendering some of their natural rights and agreeing to live under a common sovereign authority that can enforce laws and maintain peace. Hobbes contends that the social contract is essential to escape the chaos of the state of nature. 4. Laws of nature. Chapter 15 expands on the laws of nature, outlining specific duties and obligations that arise from Hobbes's natural laws. These include the duty to seek peace, the obligation to keep contracts covenants, and the requirement to forgive past offenses when the offender seeks peace. These laws of nature are not merely moral principles but are grounded in the pursuit of self-preservation and social order. 5. Role of sovereign authority. Hobbes emphasizes the importance of a strong sovereign authority in maintaining peace and order. The sovereign's role is to enforce the social contract, uphold the laws of nature, and protect individuals from the violence and insecurity of the state of nature. Hobbes's idea of absolute sovereignty is a central theme, reflecting his belief in a powerful central government as the solution to the problems of the state of nature. 6. Individual self-interest. Throughout these chapters, Hobbes emphasizes the role of individual self-interest as a driving force in human behavior. He argues that individuals enter into the social contract and obey laws, not out of altruism, but because it serves their self-preservation and desire for security. 7. Breakdown of contracts. Hobbes warns of the dire consequences of breaking contracts or undermining the authority of the sovereign. He argues that violating the social contract could lead to the dissolution of civil society and a return to the state of nature, with its inherent dangers and conflicts. In examining these chapters, it becomes clear that Hobbes's Leviathan is a foundational work in political philosophy that seeks to address the problem of social and political order. His analysis of the state of nature, the importance of natural laws, and the necessity of the social contract has had a profound and enduring impact on discussions of government, sovereignty, and the role of individuals in society. Hobbes's ideas continue to be relevant and influential in contemporary political thought. Analyzing chapters 13, 14, and 15 of Thomas Hobbes's Leviathan reveals key philosophical concepts and arguments that form the basis of his political theory. State of nature. Hobbes's depiction of the state of nature as a condition of perpetual conflict and insecurity is a central theme. He describes it as a place where life is nasty, brutish, and short. This harsh portrayal serves as the driving force behind his argument for the necessity of civil society and government. Hobbes's view reflects a pessimistic assessment of human nature, where individuals are motivated by self-interest and competition. Natural laws. Hobbes introduces the idea of natural laws, particularly the first and second laws. The first law, seeking peace and self-preservation, reflects the instinct for survival. The second law, which encourages individuals to be willing to enter into contracts and covenants, lays the groundwork for the social contract. These natural laws are a critical component of Hobbes's argument that rational self-interest drives individuals to seek security and peace. Social contract. Hobbes's theory of the social contract is a fundamental concept. He argues that individuals, recognizing the dangers of the state of nature, agree to a social contract. They surrender some of their natural rights to a sovereign authority in exchange for protection and order. This contract is both a theoretical construct and a practical solution to the problem of societal chaos. Laws of nature. Hobbes expands on the laws of nature in chapter 15. These laws include the duty to seek peace, the obligation to keep contracts, and the requirement to pardon offenses when reconciliation is sought. These laws are rooted in the pursuit of self-preservation and the avoidance of conflict, providing a framework for a stable society. Sovereign authority. Hobbes advocates for a powerful sovereign authority as the solution to the problems of the state of nature. This authority is tasked with enforcing the social contract, maintaining order, and upholding the laws of nature. Hobbes's concept of absolute sovereignty aligns with his belief that a strong central government is necessary to prevent the descent into chaos. Self-interest. Hobbes consistently emphasizes individual self-interest as a driving force in human behavior. People enter into the social contract and obey laws not out of moral virtue but because it serves their self-preservation and desire for security. This perspective on human nature informs his entire political philosophy. Consequences of contract violation. Hobbes warns against the breakdown of contracts and the undermining of sovereign authority. He argues that violating the social contract could result in the dissolution of civil society, leading to a return to the state of nature. This highlights the fragility of social order and the importance of upholding the contract. In analysis, Hobbes's Leviathan presents a foundational argument for the necessity of government and the social contract. His pessimistic view of human nature, reliance on self-interest as a motivator, and belief in absolute sovereignty continue to shape discussions on political philosophy and the role of the state in society. Hobbes's work remains a crucial reference point for understanding the relationship between individuals, government, and social order. Let's further examine the key elements and implications of chapters 13, 14, and 15 in Thomas Hobbes's Leviathan. 1. The state of nature. In Chapter 13, Hobbes introduces the concept of the state of nature as a hypothetical condition before the establishment of civil society. He describes it as a condition of perpetual conflict and insecurity, where life is characterized by violence and chaos. Examination. Hobbes's portrayal of the state of nature serves as a powerful backdrop for his political theory. By emphasizing the brutality and unpredictability of this state, he underscores the need for a social contract and a strong sovereign authority to maintain order and security. 2. Natural laws. In Chapter 14, Hobbes discusses natural laws that govern human behavior in the state of nature. He identifies the first law, which promotes self-preservation and the pursuit of peace, and the second law, which encourages individuals to be willing to give up certain rights to achieve peace. Examination. Hobbes's recognition of natural laws underscores his belief that human behavior is not arbitrary but influenced by rational self-interest. These natural laws form the basis for his argument that individuals enter into the social contract to escape the state of nature and ensure their self-preservation. 3. The social contract. The concept of the social contract is central to Hobbes's political philosophy. He argues that individuals, recognizing the inherent dangers of the state of nature, agree to form a social contract. This contract involves surrendering some of their natural rights and agreeing to live under a common sovereign authority. Examination. The social contract represents a fundamental shift from the state of nature to civil society. It reflects Hobbes's belief that rational individuals willingly give up certain freedoms to ensure security and peace. This concept has had a profound influence on political thought and discussions of governance. 4. Laws of nature. In Chapter 15, Hobbes expands on the laws of nature, which include the duty to seek peace, the obligation to keep contracts covenants, and the requirement to forgive past offenses when the offender seeks peace. Examination. These laws of nature are not arbitrary moral principles but are grounded in the pursuit of self-preservation and social order. They provide a normative framework for a stable and peaceful society. By examining these laws, Hobbes demonstrates that the desire for self-preservation aligns with social harmony. 5. Sovereign authority. Hobbes emphasizes the importance of a strong sovereign authority in maintaining peace and order. The sovereign's role is to enforce the social contract, uphold the laws of nature, and protect individuals from the violence and insecurity of the state of nature. Examination. Hobbes's concept of absolute sovereignty reflects his conviction that a powerful central government is necessary to prevent societal chaos. The examination of sovereign authority raises questions about the nature of government and the limits of political power. 6. Role of self-interest. Throughout these chapters, Hobbes underscores the role of individual self-interest as a motivating factor in human behavior. He argues that individuals enter into the social contract and obey laws not out of altruism but because it serves their self-preservation and desire for security. Examination. Hobbes's emphasis on self-interest challenges traditional notions of morality and highlights the pragmatic considerations that underpin his political philosophy. This perspective on human nature has implications for how societies are organized and governed. 7. Consequences of contract violation. Hobbes warns of the dire consequences of breaking contracts or undermining the authority of the sovereign. He argues that violating the social contract could lead to the dissolution of civil society and a return to the state of nature. Examination. Hobbes's examination of contract violation emphasizes the fragility of social order and underscores the importance of individuals honoring their agreements. It raises ethical and practical questions about the stability of political systems. In summary, chapters 13, 14, and 15 of Leviathan provide a foundational framework for Thomas Hobbes's political philosophy. His examination of the state of nature, natural laws, the social contract, sovereign authority, self-interest, and contract violation sheds light on the nature of political authority and the role of individuals in society. Hobbes's work continues to be a significant reference point in discussions of political theory, governance, and social contract theory. Let's examine the key concepts in chapters 13, 14, and 15 of Thomas Hobbes's Leviathan, with examples. 1. The state of nature. Concept. Hobbes describes the state of nature as a condition of perpetual conflict and insecurity. Example. Imagine a scenario where there is no government or law enforcement, and individuals are free to act solely according to their desires. In such a state, people may resort to violence to protect their possessions or interests, leading to a constant state of fear and danger. 2. Natural laws. Concept. Hobbes identifies natural laws that govern behavior, including the duty to seek peace and self-preservation. Example. Consider a situation where two individuals encounter each other in the state of nature. The natural law of self-preservation may lead them to be cautious and seek to avoid conflict, recognizing that violence could jeopardize their own safety. 3. The social contract. Concept. Hobbes argues that individuals enter into a social contract to escape the state of nature by surrendering some of their rights to a sovereign authority. Example. In a social contract, individuals agree to pay taxes and obey the laws of a government in exchange for protection and order. Citizens give up the right to use force to settle disputes, relying on the government to maintain peace. 4. Laws of nature. Concept. Hobbes outlines laws of nature, including the obligation to keep contracts, covenants, and the requirement to seek peace. Example. If two parties make a contract, such as a business agreement or a treaty between nations, they are expected to uphold their commitments. Breaking the contract would violate the law of nature and risk disrupting trust and stability in society. 5. Sovereign authority. Concept. Hobbes emphasizes the importance of a strong sovereign authority to enforce the social contract and maintain order. Example. A government with a well-functioning legal system and law enforcement agencies acts as a sovereign authority. It ensures that contracts are upheld, disputes are resolved peacefully, and individuals are protected from harm. 6. Role of self-interest. Concept. Hobbes argues that individuals act in their self-interest, seeking security and self-preservation. Example. When people choose to follow traffic laws and stop at red lights, they do so not solely out of altruism but because they recognize that obeying the rules reduces the risk of accidents and promotes their own safety. 7. Consequences of contract violation. Concept. Hobbes warns that violating the social contract can lead to the dissolution of civil society and a return to the state of nature. Example. If individuals in a society consistently break contracts, engage in violence, and undermine the authority of the government, social order may deteriorate, resulting in chaos, conflict, and insecurity. These examples illustrate how the concepts presented in chapters 13, 14, and 15 of Leviathan relate to real-life situations and the implications of Hobbes's political philosophy for understanding human behavior and governance. Hobbes's ideas continue to be influential in discussions of politics, ethics, and social contract theory.